Welcome back to AgriTalk at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky. Another big crowd with the great weather and a lot going on here. And so we mentioned in the last segment, just a lot of people very happy the way things are going. The mood seems upbeat, and commodity prices have a lot to do with that, certainly. But we're kind of focusing on this cropping year and the importance of it, of course, with the tight stocks and the high prices. And we're going to talk a little plant performance with Mike Bierman, who is the Plant Performance Specialist for Syngenta. Michael, good to talk with you. Let's talk about, when we say plant performance, I guess most people would have a general idea what we're talking about, but how does Syngenta define plant performance?
Well, when we refer to plant performance, what we're talking about is using our foliar fungicides, so brands like Quadris Quilt, Quilt Excel, in multiple crops. And we look at the value of our crops today. I mean, we truly are growing specialty crops out there in corn, soybeans, and wheat acres with the value. So what plant performance is with our fungicide brands, we're controlling disease, but we're also doing some things to the plant that are going to help with grain fill, are going to help that plant use CO2 more efficiently. It's going to lead to that plant staying greener longer. Harvest efficiencies. It's, there's a lot of things that we're doing besides just controlling disease, which at the end of the day for the growers means a lot of benefit.
So there's a lot more to plant performance than maybe we thought about that you could handle here. Let's talk about extended grain and pod fill, which is obviously so critical to optimizing yield.
Sure, and we look at performance, what plant performance means by crop, and we start looking from a corn standpoint. We're going to control disease, which hopefully is going to end up in a yield benefit, which we've been averaging around 15 bushels. But at the same time, we're going to have thicker diameter stalks. We're going to see better grain fill, better kernel depth, and we're going to have a plant in corn that's going to naturally complete its life cycle, and it's going to dry down naturally versus die down. And we look at soybeans. Everything that we do after we plant soybeans is going to take away from yield potential. And if we've got the ability just to keep one more pod on that plant, that's going to be tremendous improvements in yield. So we're trying to extend that period.
We're trying to maximize yields. We need all the production we can get, and of course the price, as I mentioned, is so important too. Right now with it so high, farmers want that return on investment, get all the yield they can get, all the dollars they can get. It sounds like what we're talking about here is try to really maximize the potential of that plant.
Yeah, and all of our crops are worth protecting this year, more so than ever. But plant performance is a harder thing to get your arms wrapped around because a lot of us believe that fungicides only control disease, but we look at whether it's university data, Syngenta own research, and we've spent countless years studying this phenomenon. And what that means for your growers is a plant that's better able to deal with stresses, uses water, light, nutrients more available, and at the end of the day, is put additional dollars back in their pocketbook.
And going in, you don't know what those stresses are going to be. So if the healthier the plant, that's a plant that can handle whatever the stress may be.
Yeah, and whether that's heat stress, drought stress, whatever those environmentals, sometimes that's insect feeding, sometimes that's disease, but ultimately a healthier plant is better capable of producing higher yields later on in the growing season.
Let's talk real quick about the crop-specific benefits growers will see when they're looking at plant performance benefit.
Yeah, so corn, an application of Quilt Excel at tassel, you're going to see yield improvements. You're going to see better kernel depth, better grain quality, and better standability. From a soybean perspective is, we're trying to protect that plant and keep that plant not only keeping more flowers, which turns into pod, but ultimately is make those beans larger, which means more pounds the elevator. From a wheat, for example, is, again, it's better wheat, it's reduction in lodging, it's better test weight, better grain quality, and all of those things taken to the elevator, especially at the end of the year, means more return for our growers.
Well, I guess every year at this time we could say this, but this coming year's crops will be the most critical ever, and I would say that's certainly the case this year.
Yeah, and when you start looking at our portfolio products from Syngenta with Quadris Quilt and Quilt Excel fungicide, it's about maximizing yield and quality, but also from a global standpoint is you look at the demand for calorie intake and how big our population is getting. It's all of us in the U.S. and globally, we need to do a better job of trying to focus in on maximizing every single acre of output so we can feed this growing population and doing it sustainably.
Great. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, that is Michael Bierman, Plant Performance Specialist for Syngenta. We're broadcasting from their booth here at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky today. When we come back, we're going to discuss insect control. Stay with us. It's halftime on AgriTalk.